good to be here with you. I am running for the same reason I believe that you are here, and that is the state of our education system, our healthcare system, our mental health system, what has happened to our roads and highways, what has happened in prison overcrowding, what's happened across the state of Oklahoma over the last 8 years. A lot of people, Democrats and Republicans, believe that it's time for a change, that it's time to turn things around and start doing things differently. I had no intention when I left the AG's office in 2011 that I would ever be a candidate again for anything. I thought, finished with politics, except I was a check writer, and thanks to some of you who were a check writer today, but that's what I did. I supported candidates and wished them well and go change America and this, that, and the other. But I didn't think I'd be a candidate again. And I apologize if Linda's already covered this. We're kind of enjoying it, traveling around the country, going to visit our grandkids and all of that. I deliberately lost my filter. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. In those days, somebody would come up and say something and I thought was really, really stupid. I would say, well, that's really stupid. And you just can't do that if you're running for office. You have to say something political like, that's it. Well, that's interesting. So if you say something to me and I say, well, that's very interesting, you know what I'm thinking. Just keep that in mind. The problem is, Linda and I can both read. So we get up in the morning and we read the paper, or she reads it to me, and because I'd rather be watching morning shows or whatever. And every day there was another story about what was happening in Oklahoma with our schools or something else. And finally, after talking to 2 or 3 other people that I thought would make good candidates, and none of them were interested in doing it, last May 1, I announced that I would be a candidate for governor in the state of Oklahoma.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's been a very interesting year and a half. The things that were wrong with Oklahoma that I was looking at last May have gotten worse, not better. Our teachers, we have 2,600 emergency certified teachers in our school system today. And they may be very good people, well educated, but they're not fully qualified to teach our children. But they're in the classrooms because teachers have left the profession or left the state in droves. 2,600. Compare that to 2012. 2012, the number of emergency certified teachers in the system, 32. So in just 6 years, we've gone from 32 to 2,600 emergency certified teachers. And there are scads of positions that never got filled. There are scads of positions that have been eliminated, courses have been dropped. Usually the first victim is the arts, music, the kinds of things that a kid might stay in school if he or she can take an art class, if art class is gone. 30% of our school districts no longer teach a foreign language, and yet it remains a requirement for admission to most of our colleges and universities. It's just wrong. We're not building a future if we're not building our children. If we're not helping our children get the education they need and deserve, we're not building a future for the state of Oklahoma. And speaking of future, do you know that our life expectancy has been downgraded in Oklahoma? Our actual life expectancy, and when they reduced our bond rating, because of 2 years of $1 billion holes in the budget, when they reduced our bond rating, I figured, well, this is going to make every bond issue more expensive. But when they reduced our life expectancy, that's what we had to mention Edmondson. This is serious. We have 3 communities in Oklahoma that made the Washington expectancies in the 50s. Now this is America. In this century, we're talking about communities of our brothers and sisters, our citizens, with life expectancies in the 50s.
And that's because they don't have access to the proper health care.
And that's because that's what I was thinking. Because they don't, well, that's a big part of it, and maybe the major part of it. There's a whole lot of health indicators. Everything from early childhood issues all the way up. Nutrition, health, the whole 9 yards, but a lot of it is access to health care. I have said this for a year and a half, that the worst decision of government that I remember in my lifetime was the decision made 8 years ago not to opt into the Medicaid expansion. Absolutely no justification for it except pure politics. To choose to send hundreds of millions of our tax dollars to other states to take care of the medical needs of people in Pennsylvania or Michigan or California instead of spending it on basic health care coverage for 153,000 Oklahomans that, get this, work full time, earn too much money to qualify for Medicaid, and not enough to opt in to the insurance pool or to afford private health insurance. That's who we cut out of basic health care coverage. But guess what? They still get sick. And when they get sick, they show up at the hospital, and their care is uncompensated, which means the hospital just eats that bill. Well, they did that down in Pauls Valley, and now the hospital is closed. I got a text message from Steve Brindley, mayor of Wilburton, Oklahoma, who was just heartsick. This was just last week, because the hospital in Wilburton, Oklahoma had to close. The same things happened over in Sayre. Same thing in Eufaula. The same thing in communities, mostly rural communities all across the state of Oklahoma. If we are interested in preserving the way of life in rural Oklahoma, if we think that's worth preserving, and I do. I grew up in Muskogee, my wife grew up in Ellis County. We believe in rural Oklahoma. We believe in it strongly. You can kill a community by closing its hospital as easily as you can kill it by closing its school. And if you want to preserve the schools and health clinics across rural Oklahoma, there's only one candidate in this race for you, and that's me. The guy on the other side will not. The other side would not opt into the Medicaid expansion, and not only does he have no plan for additional revenues for public education, he would have vetoed the $400 million they passed back in April. And that's just wrong. It's just wrong. When the legislature finally got the courage and the numbers, 75% to vote for a revenue package, we could criticize it for being less than half of what the teachers had asked for, but we got to thank them for doing something. They did something. And something hadn't been done in decades, and they did it back in April. And my opponent would have vetoed that. I think we need that plus more. So I propose putting the gross production tax back at 7%. That's where it was. That's what they pay in taxes. They can pay it here in the state of Oklahoma. Reducing the gross production tax, they first reduced it down to 1%, then they ticked it up to 2%, and in April they ticked it back up to 5%. Reducing it was not a bad idea. When horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing were still experimental, the legislature said, okay, we want to encourage you to do this, see how it works. And they lowered the tax rate so they could make more money, particularly in the first 3 years of drilling, with that lower tax rate. And it worked. And it's now the way they drill. It is the way they do business in Oklahoma and every other state where they go after oil and gas. They no longer need the subsidy. They're making billions of dollars taking oil and gas from under the soil of the state of Oklahoma. The surface owner is entitled to compensation. The mineral owner is entitled to compensation. It's a resource of the state, and the state is entitled to compensation as well. That's what the 7% is intended to do. We need to put it back. Second, the capital gains loophole on state income tax needs to be eliminated. We used to tax capital gains, ordinary income, and pay the income tax rate on it. We decided in 2005 to have another experiment on the theory that if people got a tax break on their capital gains, they would reinvest that money and it would generate more revenue than it cost. Another good theory, except this one didn't work. This one resulted in $9 million of additional revenue and cost us $474 million in lost revenue. So the experts who were working for the Tax Incentive Review Commission said, we need to back up and do away with this one. The Senate passed a repealer. It died on the House side. It needs to be repealed. And incidentally, and I don't want to say anything critical of people who make a lot of money. Some of them are friends of mine, and I wish more of them were. But 70% of that $474 million went to people who earn in excess of $1 million a year. They don't need a tax break, and we do. The people of the state of Oklahoma need that money. The third thing is the extra 50 cents on a pack of cigarettes. It was introduced as $1.50. It actually passed at $1.50, but didn't get the 75%. So it ended up passing at $1. I want the other 50 cents. And I would be in favor of that, even if we didn't have a budget problem, because it impacts directly on youth smoking. The higher the price of a pack of cigarettes, the fewer kids start smoking, and they will live longer, healthier lives. So those are the three planks. The three planks, and the only three planks that I've advanced on increased revenues. And if you hear anybody saying that it's part of my program to raise your income taxes or your sales taxes, unless you're a smoker, it's not true. Y'all see the cows on TV saying Drew's going to raise your income tax? We have it on good authority that those cows are from out of state. We can't prove it yet, but we also believe those cows are paid actor cows. Out of state, paid actor cows. Don't believe them when they say where I am on taxes. Believe what you just heard me say. 3, capital gains, gross production, and cigarette tax, and that's it. And tell those cows to move along. We're not believing in that. So that's a basic outline of why I'm running and what I intend to do if I get elected and how I'm going to pay for it. So let me pause here and see what questions that you might have about issues, either named or unnamed, or the campaign itself. Yes, ma'am.
I understood from someone who says that they know that they've been places that you've been, and you spent quite a bit of time at those places, kind of bashing, oh, what's his name? You're running against. What is his name? I can't think of it.
Bolston.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin said.
I wanted to say that after hearing that, first I didn't believe it, and then secondly I thought, well, I need to know as a voter about this man. Are those things that they said about him true? You know, about his, all the things that they said about him. So I got on the internet and I was able to confirm a very good portion of those. And if people don't want to believe me, they can get on the internet and do their own research. But when I was doing the research, and I kept saying, well, hold on a second. And Edmondson is not going to talk about that at his rallies. Because he wants to talk about what he's going to do, not what somebody else did or, you know, got in trouble. Now, so I guess maybe my question is, I know how you're different than he is. I mean, do you think that that's a good source?
I always encourage individual research,
Okay.
but the internet's pretty broad.
Right.
And there's a difference between what you research and what you look up and what you study and what you might see on Facebook or something else, you know. What was it, Snopes? You know,
Yes.
I've told people on the internet, you know, that's just not accurate. You know, why don't you go to Snopes and check it out? They said, oh, Snopes is left wing.
Yeah.
You know? So there's some people that you just can't disturb with facts. So I encourage people to do their own research, make up their own mind. And I really try not to spend a lot of time talking about my opponent. I do point out that he would have vetoed the pay raise, and I do point out that he would reject the Medicaid expansion. Those are pretty clear. He's on record. He would not, if he were here, he would not dispute either one of those. But I have not talked, and did not talk here today much about his business dealings. They are a matter of record, and a lot of them are a matter of court record. So, you know, people can take a look at it.
Okay, well, I just wanted to see what you would encourage us to do as supporters of yours. So that we don't talk a lot of empty rhetoric.
I first got onto that in the primary. Gary Richardson, who was one of the many candidates in the Republican primary, had a website called Shady Kevin, ShadyKevin.com. And I absolutely went to that website, and he had all those cases listed. And I did not take Gary's word for it. You know, I like Gary, he's a nice guy, but, you know, I just did take down the style of each one of those cases. And I asked my people, look it up. You know, tell me whether this is accurate, tell me whether this is true. And we did our research on it, just like you're talking about doing. Here, yes.
I know that a lot of discussion around your campaign has been geared toward the budget of home education, which I think are the top two things that we need to be talking about. But one of the other big issues in Oklahoma is the incarceration rate and the amount of money that we're spending on private prisons. So I was just curious to get your take if you thought at all about what our state can do moving forward to help with these crises.
Yeah, absolutely. And usually in response to questions, because it's not always part of my basic speech, I advocate for the Department of Mental Health Smart on Crime proposal for drug, alcohol, and mental health treatment facilities available all across the state of Oklahoma. On a sliding scale or free, so people can participate and avail themselves of those services regardless of their financial capabilities. To me, you know, as a 10-year prosecutor, it's 100 times better to stop a crime from being committed than to try to figure out what to do with some guy after he's held up a quick trip. You know, if you can stop that from happening, it's better all the way around. And that's what drug, alcohol, and mental health treatment is designed to do, to prevent crimes from being committed. The voters of the state of Oklahoma took a great step forward in terms of reducing prison population 2 years ago when they voted for 780 and 781, which made simple possession, not possession with intent or actual distribution, but simple possession of drugs, a whole raft of drugs, a misdemeanor maximum, not prison eligible, not a felony. And that is going to, in time, reduce prison population. And I would go a step or two past that. I have said publicly that if there are people in prison today serving time for crimes that are no longer a felony, I would like the pardon forward to send me their names. Because if it's not a felony any longer, they should not be serving time in prison. I've also advocated going back and reviewing decisions that we've made in past decades about mandatory minimums, ineligibility for suspended and deferreds, and things of that nature. So I think we need to bring our prison population down, and there's a route to do that. And as we do that, we need to wean ourselves from private prisons. I think it's an obligation of the state. If the state's gonna say, if you do this, you're gonna go to the penitentiary, then the state has an obligation to make sure that people are safe, to make sure they're fed, to make sure they get medical care, and to put a profit motive on top of that, I think is just wrong. So that's where I am. We'll see what happens. And there was a, yes?
I'd like to add to your knowledge base about healthcare facilities closing, and I'm going to get emotional. Mercy has an oncology clinic here in Enid, been here more than 20 years, serves a huge area, and they're closing at the end of the year because of Medicare reimbursement rates. My daughter has cancer and she's being treated there. I'm a patient there. I know there's many others in this room that are patients there that will no longer have that availability of something right here. And I know they serve patients. I asked, I said, how far out are your patients coming? They're coming from Kansas. They're coming from the Panhandle. They're coming here for treatment, and now if they want to see that same doctor, they have to go to Oklahoma City, and that will be a terrible burden. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and I appreciate it, and I'm fully aware that we have cut reimbursement rates for medical providers in hospitals over the years. We need to start restoring that. They gave a little $3 bump just recently. That's not enough. That's not going to make the difference in your instance. And I was just talking to, and I don't remember whether he said that on the air or told us that not on the air. We're on a radio station, and the person interviewing had his doctor used to come to Woodward once a week or whatever, and couldn't do that anymore for the same reason, and now he's having to go to either Clinton or Weatherford for the same kind of treatment, and we're not taking care of our people, and we need to take care of our people. If we don't take care of our people, then businesses looking at Oklahoma will be skeptical that we will take care of their people. So we start at home, we invest in our own people, and then we encourage businesses to either expand here or come to Oklahoma. But we can't do it without priming the pump to make sure that we're taking care of our own. And thank you for sharing. Yes, sir.
I just want to thank you for stability of time. When Nick Cornett endorsed your opponent, your statement was he's going to have a place to stay when he goes.
Yes.
And I thought I just applaud you doing that. That's a well-made statement.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Nick's a good guy, and his party put a lot of pressure on him to do what he did. That doesn't make him a bad guy. You know, he still has a lot of talent. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Regardless of personal feelings, how is the marijuana issue going to eventually shake down in terms of legalization and how it's going to be carried out? I know you're privy to a lot of behind-the-scenes conversation. How's that going to eventually become implemented?
Well, are you talking about medical marijuana? It's going to
It's the only
become.
kind there is, right?
Well, I'm from Muskogee, so of course I'll say yes, that's the only time. Because everybody knows that we don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee. You got two different groups working on it right now. One, Tom Bates, the interim director of the Department of Health, still has his people working on rules and regulations. You also have it's a bicameral, not bipartisan. This was told to me the other day, and I hadn't thought about. Bicameral means it's both the House and the Senate, which you usually refer to as a joint committee, but they refuse to be called a. Okay, on that. A bicameral, bipartisan committee working on it with the legislatures, which may come forward with implementing legislation. I don't think they're going into special session. this close to January and February when they're back in the regular session. So you have two different people looking at it, both of which are trying to figure out how to establish a regimen for medicinal marijuana to be done in a way that can be regulated and quality can be assured and all of the other issues that are present when the people who circulated the petition submitted it on the ballot and got 57% of the vote to adopt it, probably had a different goal in mind. They probably were more interested in a looser structure, allowing more participation by more people and more profit. So you're going to have an interesting situation as those competing issues come into play in the legislative action and the rules of the Department of Health. The next governor will have to deal with the result of legislative action, if any, and if the legislature takes no action, then the next governor will have to decide whether it's working or whether changes are necessary. So I'm prepared for that study. I'm looking forward to seeing what the legislature comes up with and what the final result of the Department of Health is, and we will take it from there. And if you're asking me to predict, I cannot. I don't know how that's going to turn out. So like you, I'll be watching it and making a judgment when I get somebody's result and make a determination of whether that's sufficient. Yes?
I want to know if you're going to be able to do anything about low pay for like minimum wage workers and
Non-governmental minimum wage? Oh, absolutely. And it's been a long time since there's been an increase in the minimum wage. Historically, Oklahoma has tracked the federal minimum wage and has waited for the federal government to increase the minimum wage, and Oklahoma follows suit. So I don't know if there's any appetite in the legislature to, on their own, increase the minimum wage. And we'll just have to wait and see on that. I know they would prefer to wait for the United States Congress to act first. So we'll see. That's going to be like, yeah, that's going to be a wait. That's the world we live in right now, and we'll have to wait and see what Congress does. You have a question?
Well, I was just going to suggest that maybe you just take one more question or so, since these people have been here a lot longer than you.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And my apologies to all of you.
I'm sorry, this is the why.
Thank you. I think I'm due next at the Enid News Eagle, and they may not be as forgiving as you are. Thank you. Is there one more question? Yes, in the back.
More recently we've had a lot more young people engaged in politics, and some of the other states, states like North Dakota don't require voter registration. Other states will automatically enroll people. Is that something as governor you would see as a potential benefit to create automatic voter enrollment as people get, for say, driver's license or ID cards?
It's interesting you should ask that. During the brief time I served in the Oklahoma legislature, I introduced two bills. Neither one of them would went anywhere. I was a freshman. One of the bills that I introduced was to make every high school principal a deputy registrar. Back then, you had to be a deputy registrar. You just went in and told them you wanted to be a deputy registrar. You didn't have to take a test or anything. But if every high school principal was a deputy registrar, I thought whenever a senior turned 18, you could go down to the office and register to vote. I still think that's a good idea, except you don't need to be a deputy registrar, but I think having registration forms in the high schools is still a good idea, and colleges as well. So it is easier, and instructions on how to also do it online. I'm a great believer in participatory democracy, and the fact that we have such a low percentage turnout year after year after year, I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's a little embarrassing on occasion that we have such a low percent of turnout, and the lowest is 18 to 25 among young people. So we particularly hard to convince young people that it's important. You know, we can look at other countries where the citizenry really, I remember, and I'm sorry, I'm going to forget which country this was, and somebody may remember, they got the right to vote. And in order, when they went to vote, their thumb was inked as a sign that they had voted to avoid multiple votes. And was it, somebody remember what country that was? But having that mark on your thumb made you a mark for death. Because the extremists did not want participatory democracy. They did not want these elections to take place. But these people lined up, you know, for miles to come and vote, even though it was at risk of their lives to do so. And for us to be so cavalier about the right to vote, and well, maybe I'll vote if it's not raining, you know, or whatever, to me is a very sad situation. So anything we can do to instill in our people, young and old, the importance of voting and what a dear price has been paid to get us that right over the years, I think it behooves us to send that message out and to encourage everybody to participate. Where I can help as governor, I will. Thank you all.